Hey, it's the old camera guy here again to talk about the Nikon Lite Touch AF camera, introduced in 1993, back when AF still meant autofocus. It's also known as the AF600. It's a little point-and-shoot camera that doesn't get a lot of love like some of the other fancy point-and-shoots like the Ricoh GR1 or the Contax T2, but it's still a pretty good camera in its own right. Let's take a closer look. The Nikon Lite Touch AF has a 3-element 28mm lens. It's got a maximum aperture of f3.5 down to a minimum aperture of f16, and it focuses from 0.35 meters to infinity, so you can get pretty close to your subject, which is kind of nice. The shutter speeds range from a quarter second to 1/250th of a second. Take a look at the back here. You can see there is a film window there, so if you figure out what stock you're shooting, you can look right through there and figure out what you have in there. The viewfinder up here is fairly small, but I found it actually gives a pretty good representation of what ends up on your film. So even though it's small, it's pretty accurate, really. Here you got a little panoramic switch. This is, of course, not a true panoramic. It just does a crop, so it's just kind of a mask, and you can see that on the inside here. There's that mask. It takes it from a standard 24 by 36 millimeters down to a 13 by 36. You see it's got DX code right there. So if your film does not have DX code, it just defaults to ISO 100. Bottom here, there is a standard tripod socket. And here's the battery chamber. Just takes one CR123A battery. On the top here, we're going to turn this back on so you can hear that again and watch the lens open up. There it is. One thing I like about this is while the flash does turn on every time you turn on the camera, you only have to push this flash button once and it turns it off, which is pretty good. Some of the other compacts like the Olympus Stylic Epic or the Yashica T4, you got to push a couple times. This one is just once, so it's kind of a nice feature. And then right next to that, this other button, if you push it once, it does lock focus on infinity, so it's good for landscapes. You push it again, it activates the self-timer. If you push it one more time, you can see it's got two self-timer icons there. It actually takes a self-timer shot and then 10 seconds later takes another one. Right here you get the shutter release, and then right underneath that is a mid-roll rewind button. Now that we've taken a look at the camera itself, let's check out some shots taken on Ilford HP5 Plus, Eastman Kodak XX, and Kodak Tri-X 400. The Nikon Lite Touch AF. What do I like about this camera? Well, a lot of things really. I like the size, first of all. It's extremely compact and really lightweight, so you can keep it in your pocket and just kind of really take it with you anywhere you want to go, so it's very convenient. I like the autofocus quite a lot too. It does a nice job. It's pretty quick, very accurate, knows focus just about every time. Metering is actually pretty good too. It doesn't have exposure compensation, so if you're looking at a real complex lighting situation, it might struggle a little bit, but in most situations it's going to handle it just fine. So the lens itself, again, it's a 28mm f3.5, so you're not going to take fancy portraits with blurred out backgrounds, but as a general walk around camera, I think it does a really nice job. It's great to maybe even put in your car, maybe keep in your bag with you so you can take it, again, just about everywhere. The way I use mine is really kind of a sidekick camera. I don't use it as my primary shooter, but a lot of times if I have a Canon SLR with me, maybe with a 50mm f1.4 lens, I'll slip a Nikon in my pocket, and it's a nice way to get that wider focal length too. Another thing I like is sometimes I'll put color film in the Nikon and black and white in the SLR, so this way I've got black and white and color covered pretty easily. So one of the biggest things I like about this camera is it is not a top-of-the-line premium compact point and shoot. And the reason I say I like that is because I don't have to worry about if it gets beat up a little bit in my pocket, I'm not out hundreds of dollars. I got this one actually at a thrift store for under $1. So if you're lucky enough to find one of these at a thrift store or maybe a garage sale or something like that, I think it's definitely worth picking up. If you like what you saw here today, you can give it a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to this channel. You can find me on Flickr, Instagram, and Tumblr as The Old Camera Guy. Until next time, do some good, have some fun, and shoot some film.